Today we're going to do a full review and tour of MSC Seascape to help you determine if booking this ship is the right move for you. Admittedly, MSC is a relatively new and unpopular brand to the US market, and most folks are not familiar with the differences in this European brand. However, several things make this ship stand out from other MSC ships, but there are quite a few things that you should know before finalizing your time on board. I will show you absolutely everything to see and do. The average person spends $1,500 on a cruise vacation, and those trips usually last around 7 days. I'm here to ensure that you know exactly what you're getting for your money and to help you understand if you're likely to enjoy your time on board. There are quite a few things that MSC got wrong, but the first entrance is not one of them. When you enter the ship, there is going to be crew members who are on the left and to the right, and they will cheer and clap you walking on board. It's almost like a celebration feeling, and you walk right into the atrium. Now, the first thing that they want you to do is to do the muster drill, and they will direct you exactly where you need to go. There are lots of people who bring their own luggage with them because they want to get started on their cruise vacation right away. Once you get through the muster drill, the next thing they're going to do is the sail away party, and there is a fun atmosphere aboard the entire ship. There's laughing, there's dancing, there's lots of loud music, there's people waving and gyrating their bodies, so it's a real fun atmosphere right off the very get-go. So they bring you into the atrium, and we're going to show you what the atrium looks like. Then they get you through the muster drill and they get you started with the fun right away. If you look at the skyline, you may be able to recognize that we are in Miami, and the reason why is because it's the home port of MSC Seascape. So Miami is the most popular cruise port in the entire world, so you're not really going to have a lot of problems necessarily boarding. What you're looking at right now is the atrium. This is the heart and soul of the ship, and it goes up 4 levels. It is absolutely beauty, and I would describe it as stunning. There is a lot of glass and mirror and silver is how I would describe it, and it looks very crisp. It looks very new. It looks very modern, very chic, contemporary. It really blends together the entire vibe of the entire ship, and again, it's the heart and soul. There's lots of performances on the atrium, and I'm going to show you all of that, but the atrium really is spectacular. Now, for whatever reason, lots of cruise ships don't take you to their atrium or to a central location. They just want to get you on board into the muster drill. But one of the things I really enjoy is the fact not only did they celebrate when you got on board, but I also love the fact that they brought you into this place. So it really got your vacation, in my opinion, started off on the right foot. Now let me give you some data about the ship. This ship can hold about 5,000 passengers and has about 16,000 crew members. This is one of MSC's larger ships. It has 4 main dining rooms, 11 restaurants, 18 bars and lounges, 5 pool, and a theater that seats 1,200 people. It is a European brand cruise ship, so you're going to find more Europeans on board than would say a typical Carnival or say Royal Caribbean. During my cruise, 60% of the passengers were American, while 40% were from other parts of the globe. The atrium is where you're going to find a lot of live performance. I'm not just talking dancing. Most of them are going to be musical performances that are going to take place on the 2nd level. Those musical performances, you can see them from all 4 levels of the ship. It really is the heart and soul of the ship. They have other events there throughout your entire sailing, demonstrations. This is where you meet the captain and other senior members of the crew. It is really the hub of the ship, the entrance to the largest dining hall. The atrium is the place to be. Now, once you head outside, the main gathering area is going to be the main pool, and it is on the outer layer on the top of the ship. And as you can see, it has a relatively small pool in my opinion. However, it has lots of seating all around. This is where they have the outdoor movies, the sail away party, and other major party events are happening here. You see some showers, but this right here is the outdoor hub of the ship. If there's any other place that something is going to happen, it's going to be right here. There were lots of musical performances that happened on the main pool area. Most of them occurred on this stage right here. I love the fact that it had a mixture of live music as well as DJs. There are showers on the main pool deck, and the reason why is because the water in the pool is salt. Also, there are whirlpools that do not have salt water on either side of the pool. They weren't particularly huge whirlpools, but they were sufficient. One of the things I enjoyed about the whirlpool was that as you're in the whirlpool, you're right next to the edge of the ship, so you can see the water and the skyline as the ship moves by. Also, this whirlpool and the pool on the main deck are not only for adults, they're for adults and kids alike. If you walk the main pool deck, you'll find plenty of seating. At times, again, it got quite full. I saw people using towels to reserve seats. They got out there fairly early, around 8:30 in the morning. Most of the prime seats were already reserved, but there were still lots of other open seats as you travel around the rest of the upper deck. The pool was open throughout the entire day. However, sometimes at night they would close it. The whole entire pool deck took on a different vibe at night with different colors. It really kind of brought in the theme of what they were trying to do. And at times they had outdoor movies, and the sound for the outdoor movies was quite spectacular. One of the things I do whenever I book a cruise is I always take a look at the top deck. It'll help me understand how large the pool is and the seating or anything like that. One of the things that I had concerns about when booking this cruise is that I didn't see a water park. I didn't see a fun area for kids to have fun, and I was going on a cruise with my entire family. To my surprise, when I got on board, they had this indoor water park. And as you can see, it's fairly large. It has a huge pool area. It has a big bucket that dumps water down on people. It has slides that surround the water park. It's pretty comprehensive. But this is actually inside the belly of the ship. So you're not going to be able to really see it from the outside. But as you can see, looking from the top down, it's a pretty comprehensive water park. If you look at the ship from the top down or even from the outside, you'll notice that there are 3 slides, and these slides are all different. And they're a great feature to have. I'm going to take my camera to show you what it feels like on the slides, but it is a really fun experience. It really accentuates the water park. You can slide down with a tube, or you can just go down like these kids are going down right here. It was a fun experience, something to do, especially if you are on the water for a day or two. Great activity. Kids can spend all day here. Of the 3 water slides, the best is the one that has the inner tube. Unfortunately, it was the highest up there. If you are on a port day and you don't plan to go in port, I recommend you do the water slides because the lines are not that long. Typically, the lines for the water slides are about maybe a 10-minute wait. Here is my big pro tip for you. If you have a small child, I strongly recommend on day 1, you go here and have them sign the waiver form. This will prevent you from being disturbed when you're relaxing somewhere else on the ship and your child comes and gets you and drags you all the way here just to sign the waiver form and to join that big line. So get that done right away. Now, just like the water slide, this is another area of the ship that you cannot see from the top deck. And we're looking at the indoor pool. It has a strong tropical vibe to it. It's almost like a lush rainforest. It is extremely beautiful. This is one of the images that doesn't translate very well on video because it is far more lush than it looks right now. Now, what you're looking at up top right here is a solarium. That means the top closes if it gets too cool or too windy or it starts to rain or what have you. But it is a beautiful pool area. And this is the second pool area on board. Now, just like the pool on the main deck, there are 2 whirlpools in here. It doesn't give you the view of the outside. However, it's pretty nice and it's available for not just adults, but adults and kids as well. The water in this particular pool is salt water, but however, the whirlpool is fresh water. Now, the pool here, as well as the main pool, is fairly deep. It goes down to as deep as 6 feet, and when it fills up, it kind of overflows the pool and there's a big splash area, so the water goes back and forth and gives a little bit of a wave feeling. The pool is also open after hours and lots of teenagers come here. The thing I did not like about this pool area is that it was extremely humid. As soon as you walked in here, you felt the temperature go from a relaxing 70 degrees from inside to like 90 degrees. It was uncomfortably humid in my opinion. I gotta be honest with you, I am not a big MSC fan, but there are some things that this ship got really right, and it's the seating. There are tons of seating that have window views, not just on the outer perimeter of the ship, but also when you are inside the atrium and other portions of the ship where you would think, you know what, you don't have a window view, but you do. There are also pretty nice, comfortable lounge chairs. Of course, the chairs that are very close to the pool, those are going to be premium seating, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to get to. Because the hot tub was scattered all throughout the entire ship, it never got overrun with kids or adults. So I think the fact that they had 4 was a good mix. Here's another thing I did not like about my time on board. I love playing ping pong as well as pool and other table type games. However, if you needed to rent any of the equipment, you had to basically check it out with your room card. These things, the paddles and the balls, are extremely cheap and flimsy. I thought it was very poor taste for MSC to have somebody up here to check it out for you. And if they were up here all the time, that wouldn't be so bad. However, they weren't here all the time. So if you wanted to come after hours or maybe a different time than the middle of the day and play ping pong, you were out of luck. What you're looking at right now is the indoor pool at night, and it was absolutely beautiful. You can see the pool is open. People used it. It was a great space. But I felt that most of the people here at nighttime, especially after hours, were teenagers. Now, if you have young kids and you're concerned about them drowning, there were always lifeguards on duty. What I thought was strange is that I saw lifeguards repeatedly in tennis shoes and socks. I have no idea how you're going to rescue someone and take the time to take off your tennis shoes and socks, but there were people, lifeguards, in tennis shoes and socks, which made no sense to me at all. Let's switch gears and talk about entertainment, and let's go inside. Now, most of the entertainment that's going to take place on board, especially the big productions, are going to take place in the main auditorium. One of the things I did not understand about MSC is that you had to go on your phone and you had to register for the entertainment. So they were checking you as you walked in. Sometimes it was full, but most times it was near empty. So that's one thing about MSC I did not like, is them checking you in, because sometimes, to be honest with you, they never even checked. You would just walk in and you say my wife is inside, or you just ignore them and walk right by. What you are looking at right now is the main stage. They had a variety of different performances. One of the things I did not like about MSC that really sets it apart from, say, Royal Caribbean, is that it does not have live music. So these people are singing to a tracked music. It's their live voice, but it's to a track. Overall, the entertainment was not one of the things generally with MSC that I enjoyed. However, on this cruise, the entertainment wasn't bad. They had a variety of different shows. One of the things I didn't like about the shows was that there wasn't a lot of connection. You try to follow the plot, and there wasn't really a whole big plot per se. But in talking to members of the audience, they seemed to enjoy and appreciate it. They were also very pleasantly surprised. I think a lot of people on board had low expectations of MSC, and they were pleasantly surprised. To me, the entertainment wasn't stellar. However, as you can see, most people tend to enjoy, and tend to appreciate it. So if you like this type of entertainment, you're probably going to be pleasantly surprised. I also felt that it was a nice touch that MSC allowed folks to take photographs with the performers at the end of the production. I have traveled with MSC before, and it's one of my least favorite cruise ships, largely because the entertainment and food I think are poor. However, again, entertainment when it comes to live music and different things to do when it comes to trivia, they were pretty robust aboard Seascape. Now, I say Seascape because I don't think you'll find the same level of professionalism on all MSC ships, but I think when it comes to Seascape, whatever they're doing it right when it comes to the entertainment. They were constantly engaged with folks. There were plenty of opportunities for us to not only do game shows that were engaging, but also to do tons of other activities on board, which I and many other cruise members appreciated. If you're watching this content and you are enjoying it so far, I simply ask you to do one thing. Please hit the like button. That will help other people find this content. It will also help my channel go a long way. So please, if you can, just hit the like button. Greatly appreciate it. we're still rolling with entertainment, and as you can see, there's a ton of different venues. I talked about them not having live entertainment, but then in the main auditorium, they had a band playing with the live performances, and I thought this was pretty exceptional. So I gotta say, when it comes to entertainment, not your typical MSC ship. You're going to be pleasantly surprised. Lots of lights, lots of the content is probably, it could be, synced a little bit better, but otherwise pretty good when it comes to entertainment options. The next big thing that most people go on cruise lines for is going to be food, and that is coming up next. The average person that goes on a cruise gains a pound a day. Most people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. And most of those pounds are going to come from the main buffet. And for Seascape, the main buffet is a marketplace buffet and restaurant. I have cruised on MSC before, and one of the things I hated the most about cruising with them is their food. The food tends to be horrible aboard MSC. And the first time I cruised with them, I couldn't believe how bad the food was. Now, when I look at food on this cruise ship, the two things I look for are going to be variety and quality. This is a European cruise ship, so when it comes to variety, I had concerns that they would focus more on the European type foods and not necessarily American staples. I was very, very wrong. I was pleasantly surprised. They had a tremendously wide variety of food. The food was the biggest surprise to me. In fact, I was so surprised that I talked to other cruisers, and they too also commented on how pleasantly surprised they were on the variety, not only the variety, and I'm jumping ahead right now, but also the quality of the food that was provided. I was not on MSC alone. I was with my family. They too were very satisfied. The only part that they really kind of went European was the desserts. And, unlike the first cruise, these desserts actually tasted pretty good. It was really good food, especially coming from a buffet. I was pleasantly surprised. Now, if I had to break the food down into categories, it would be European and American, of course. And I felt that the European food surprisingly tastes good. Usually they don't have a lot of, sugar or grease, or, it's more of a little bit of healthy, so it doesn't have as much taste. However, I felt the desserts, I felt the main entrees, everything was done exceptionally well. The service was pretty good, and they even had a kids eating area, and they had a kids area where kids could sit, so it kind of got them away from the adults, and it was maybe noisy over there, but the kids enjoyed it, the parents are used to it, and the other members of the passengers appreciated not necessarily having kids all around. I kind of alluded to this earlier, but the food quality was a major concern that I was going to have, and it didn't materialize at all. The overall quality of the food, and I'm stepping out on a ledge and saying this, it was probably one of the best food from main buffets that I've had on any cruise ship. The selection, the variety, and the quality of food, it was really, really pretty impressive. And that's coming a long way from cruising on other MSC ships and absolutely hating the food. This right here is a photograph of just a sampling of the buffet, and the seating next to the windows, perfect. Now, I will say that when it comes to the seating in the main buffet, if you had a huge group, it wasn't like a table. Royal Caribbean does a really good job of having a variety of different seating options. MSC, not so much. It was like a U all around the entire food area. The food tend to be in the middle and the seating's on the end. The good thing about that design is that you had lots of opportunities to sit on the outside and get a window seat. The downside is that you didn't have a lot of variety when it came to the seating options. When it comes to beverages, you're going to have decaf versus regular coffee. That's pretty much your only option. Then when it comes to the beverages, you're going to have lemonade and maybe some other mixture of a juice option. One of the things I liked about this ship was that they gave you a little bit larger cup than say you would get at a Carnival. Carnival, they give you almost like an 8-10 ounce cup, and you have to get multiple cups, but the cups were a little bit larger on board this cruise ship. What I always recommend is that you bring your own container for juice and other types of beverage. They do offer soda beverage packages that you can pay for per day. But however, it's going to be costly. It could cost you about as much as $20 per day, which is, in my opinion, expensive to be drinking soda on a 7-day cruise. That's $140. Now, other than the main dining hall, there were other places to eat. And the only option, which is maybe a slight on MSC Seascape, is pizza. And the pizza on board, in my opinion, was absolutely exceptional. Some of the best pizzas on board a cruise ship I have ever had. In fact, it's so good, I felt it was hard for anyone else to beat it. And I love pizza. I worked at a pizza shop when I was a child, and it is absolutely stupendous. The pizza was unbelievably good. And that's not just me talking. All my kids felt the same way. My wife felt the same way. I talked to other passengers on board, and they all agreed that the pizza was literally the best they have ever had on board any cruise ship. Now, here is the thing that I did not like about the buffet and the pizza. There's only one place that you can eat for free on board, and that is the buffet. So if you come there after hours, most of the bays are going to be closed, but you'll find one bay that's open that's going to serve a mixed match of food, and then also the pizza is going to be open well into the evening. However, you had to come to the buffet. So that one central place that you're going to, eat is going to be the buffet. There's no other smaller restaurants on board on different parts of the ship. So you had to make your way, no matter where you were on board, all the way back down to the buffet. Now, when it comes to hand washing station, of course they had them. However, it was kind of tucked away. Royal Caribbean makes a huge deal about their hand washing, and they have somebody there to specifically remind you to do so. MSC, it was kind of like if you did it, you did it. If you didn't, they didn't care. Now, the ice cream that they provided was okay. They also had gelato at an extra cost. But I had the gelato, I just thought it was okay. I didn't think it was really worth that premium cost that they charged. Now, here's something I think that they did an exceptional job at. The people there, usually in the buffet, are just there to clean up and not really provide a service. However, they had a mechanism where you could scan a QR code and basically order a drink, and they were right there. So I think that method of scanning the QR code really made them really personal, exceptionally professional, and they were quick to get you exactly what you wanted. The folks who work in the main buffet, in my opinion, on other ships, really don't take a lot of care in how they do their jobs. It's something that they do, but it's not the same quality of service that you would have in the main dining hall. However, I felt that this service was a little bit above and beyond. They really went overboard to make sure that you had exceptional service. So I think that the service that they provided in the main buffet was better than most. Now, the images you're seeing right now is of the main dining room, and it's called the Green Wave. It's on the 3rd floor, right outside of the Atrium area, so easy to find. And as you can see, it doesn't go up several floors, So for those of you who like dining halls that have really high ceilings, the ceilings were, relatively low. It didn't have a second floor type feel. It doesn't have a grand dining room type feel, but it was relatively small compared to, say, other dining rooms. Because remember, there are 4 different dining rooms available on board. So I felt that overall, it didn't have that wow factor that you were maybe looking for. However, I felt that the food and service may be a different story. Pretty much all the major cruise liners are using QR codes in order for you to make an order, which is great because you don't have to print these paper menus that get dirty and constantly, float around. However, at times you try to get to the menu and it would not work. So it's great if it worked, but at other times you're sitting there waiting for it to load. So once they get that problem sorted out, then, not a problem at all. The great thing is that the menu in the main dining room, it changed daily. That means you can order different things. We were on a 7-day cruise, and the entrees continue to change on a regular, ongoing basis. Here are some images of the food that were served in the main dining room. They had a good variety and the food tasted good. I enjoyed the food in the main dining hall. Surprisingly, this is coming from a guy who doesn't like MSC food. We had fixed dining, so our waiter remained the same for the entire time. So I had to rely on talking with other guests on board, and they were satisfied with the quality of service that they received from the wait staff. In this clip, all I'm trying to show is how people dress for dinner. In the next clip, you're going to see how people dress when they are supposed to be formal. But as you can see, a lot of people are in shorts and t-shirts. Some are dressed a little bit better than others, but it wasn't like you are in slippers and cargo pants. During my cruise, I was fortunate to try all the specialty restaurants that were on board. And the biggest takeaway from some of these restaurants is going to be the entertainment value. The food tastes better than you would say in the main dining hall. So what you're paying for is better quality food, and also you're paying for the show because they're going to put on a show. They're going to demonstrate their skills, their abilities. You're going to see them season the food right in front of you, cut it up, and it's an entertainment. It's a show all by itself. So this part of it was a particular bonus for us. Now, when I say restaurant, I do mean extra cost. So all this right here, you're looking at maybe $30, $40 per person. A family of four, it starts to get expensive after a period of time. Some of them are more engaging than others. Here, you just sit down, you grab your plate, it charges you per item, as opposed to, just paying one price for the whole dining experience at the first restaurant that we did see. Butcher's Cut is their steakhouse. This is the nicest of all the restaurants on board. And I'm not a big steak fan. However, I did have the steak. My wife did too, and my kids, and they seem to enjoy it. So if you're looking for a celebration type meal, these are the different venues that they have. Of all the dining experience, this one was the most casual, but as you can see, it's still quite elegant. My family ate here and we enjoyed it. So overall, the food was a surprising plus. It got to the point at the end of the cruise, right, that we looked forward to the meal and we didn't have any apprehensions that it would be good. They did an exceptional job, and a complete night and day from our earlier MSC cruises, but food and entertainment were horrific. If you were at a specialty restaurant, the waiting area was extremely posh, very nice, very well decorated, and very comfortable. Some cruise lines are known to be a lot more laid back. They don't have a party atmosphere at all. Some, like Carnival, they try to keep it going into the wee hours of the night, and they cater to a broader audience. MSC is a European type ship, so what kind of party atmosphere would they have? They definitely had a party vibe. When you look at the white party here that we were at, there were certain people who were engaged more so than others, and others who were just sitting back and watching. So it had a mixture of both people who were willing to party and those who were just like, I just want to see what's going on. When it comes to sports bar, there was only one on board. It did offer lush seating with television screens that you could not change. However, it was a great experience. If you had a group of folks and you wanted to get together and watch a game, it wasn't bad at all. It was beautifully decorated. Movies were offered as an entertainment option on board, totally free, of course. The sound and the screen was pretty large, and the sound was really good. Sometimes there's an echoey type of vibe to the movie screens on some cruise ships, but this one, the sound was really very good. The movie, we watched the movie a couple of nights, and it was a good, relaxing experience. This is in the main atrium. As you can see, there are plenty of opportunities for you to dance and really connect with the person that you love. However, there's one thing that MSC does really well on board this ship, and I knew that coming in. I've heard stories about it, and I've experienced it my own, and it's the karaoke. This room, the karaoke room that they had, was always full. This was a full ship that we were on. But a lot of venues had seats. This did not have a lot of seats. If you showed up there late, you were standing up. And they had a variety of, quality of performance. Some were really good. The best ones are the ones that were really bad. This young lady here was a member passenger, and she was exceptional. She sang a couple times, and she just blew the audience away. So if you are on board MSC, you have to check out the karaoke. It's something that they take a lot of pride in. It's tons of fun, even if you just want to come and sit and watch. The hosts were also exceptional. They kept the energy in the room up and kept the people engaged. Most all the entertainment options I've showed you so far have been free. However, this right here is not. Robotron, it's $12 per person, and it wasn't the only entertainment option that charged a premium for. There was a sports car and a driving simulation machine, a roller coaster type simulation machine. And in my opinion, this is where one of the things where I think MSC missed, because what they were charging wasn't really worth the value. I did the Robotron, it wasn't really that thrilling. My kids did it, they didn't like it. I talked to some other people, they just thought it was okay, something to do, but not necessarily anything to really look forward to. One of the most fun things I did while on board was playing board games, and I wasn't the only one. There were tons of people that had games, and they played it on board and playing dominoes, and you saw some people getting some heated arguments in dominoes, but I did this with my family, and it was one of the best times that we had. If you're looking at the seating that they have here, there's tons of places that you can sneak away and really sit down and just have a great time with your family on a board game or something that you bought with you. This is back at the indoor pool that has the solarium. You see it has the tennis courts. It also has pool table on the other side, foosball, and other entertainment options that are absolutely free. They're all in the same place. So, you play one, you don't like it, you go to the next one, you go to the next one. So it's a great option. The only challenge I have with this area is that it was extremely humid. In a moment, we're going to go over the ship design because I have some issues with that, but at any rate, we're talking now about the Infinity Bridge. This is one of two Infinity Bridge, and they're kind of nice, they're a nice touch. Especially if you have kids, they love to walk and just look down. And this right here has a terrific view of the adult-only area, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the program, right below this Infinity Bridge. Now, before talking about all that, let's go ahead and take a tour of the cabin. Normally, I get the cheapest cabin on board a cruise ship. However, on this cruise, I splurged and I got a cabin that has a balcony. You're going to also see a cabin that has a walk-in closet and a cabin that has a whirlpool. I really loved my cabin. A cabin is a place that I usually spend absolutely no time at all. However, on this cruise ship, I was in my cabin quite a bit because it was so luxurious, it was so plush. It was really exceptionally nice, and it matched the theme of the rest of the cruise. The cruise design, the way the ship is designed, it is absolutely beautiful. Strongly recommend you get a cabin that has a balcony because it is really, really very nice. Now check this out, we are walking into a walk-in closet on board a cruise cabin. We're walking into the bathroom, you see it's pretty well equipped. The silver kind of matches the whole entire decor style of the ship. It has a well-equipped bathroom that's kind of tiny. That's to be expected on board a cruise ship. And the big plus here, it has USB ports and 120 volt sockets. If you want to stay in your cabin because it's so posh and lush, you have room service available, so you never have to leave. Now, the room service is at a slight upcharge. Now, just to provide a little bit of historical perspective, we're sailing in the middle of summer. So that means there were lots of kids on board. So the good thing is that there is an adult-only area. This adult-only area is not for any special member of the yacht club or anything like that. It's an adult-only area. Anyone can be there. The only thing is you have to be over 18 years old. And the big question is, do the kids stay out of this area? And there were lots of teenagers on board, and the answer is yes. So if you want to get away from all the kids that are on board, there's a bar here too as well. This is me looking at it from the top down. You see it's pretty nice. It has what's called an infinity pool. That's not really an infinity pool, but it's pretty nice. What we're doing right now is exploring the MSC gym, which is a miss for MSC, and I'll explain why in just a minute. This is a full cruise ship, you know, and just looking around, the gym looks absolutely beautiful. You know, the design, the glass, all that kind of stuff. But as you look at these exercise machines, you notice that they're all full. And the reason why is because there's not many of them. There's no outside jogging track. So much of the time that I was down here, unless you got in here really early, you are going to be waiting around for someone to get done running. I saw plenty of people walk in, turn around and saw that the gym was full and turned around and walked out. Also, here's another problem. If you saw a machine, that doesn't mean that you're able to get on it. A lot of these machines were out of service, you know? So that's a big problem that I have there. The gym is so small, then you have machines that are out of service that are not operable. And you don't have an outside fitness area. Also, if you like to look at the water, as you say, on a jogging track or something like that, you're probably going to be disappointed. You're not going to be looking at the front of the ship. You're going to be looking at the... Another challenge that they had, especially with the cardio type equipment, is that there was no, there was no time limit on any of the equipment. So if you were there, you have no idea how long you could be waiting for. Sometimes some ships say you can only be on them for a half hour, especially if you have a limited number. But there was no time limit, so you can stand there and you wait for as much as an hour. Again, I saw plenty of people walk into the gym, turn around, and leave. If you like to do a spa, there is plenty of opportunities for you to do that. And it's at an upcharge, nothing included. They do provide periodic free massages just as a teaser to try to get you to pay for a full one. But this is the spa area and it's awfully nice. They also have a salon and a barbershop, and this is it right here, and it looks spectacular. This photograph or this video does not do the area justice. It looks absolutely like a picture from a magazine. It is absolutely breathtaking. Like every single other cruise ship, it does have a casino. Now, if you like casinos that are, full of action and there are people that are gambling all the time, then you're going to be disappointed. Now, this has a mix of slot machines as well as table games, but for the most part, there wasn't a lot of people in here. I never walked through here and found that it was full. And I also gambled and lost money, so I'm not happy with that too as well. But the casino wasn't really all that thriving. It was just, you had some people in there sometimes, but not really a whole lot of action. Now, they do allow folks to smoke in casinos. However, I didn't smell any smoke whatsoever. There were some complaints about people saying that the smoke was in the atrium and different sections of the ship, and I didn't find that to be the case at all. I also checked with other guests to see if I was missing something, and they also didn't find that to be the case. This right here is the bar in the casino. The bar, as you can see, looks fairly nice, but again, in my opinion, the casino is kind of empty. I like to gamble with people around, and this just didn't have that vibe. If you like to drink, then you're going to like this ship. There are lots of bars and lounges where you can consume alcohol. There's a total of 18, I say again, 18 of those on board. There is a drink package that you can purchase, or you can purchase drinks individually. In my opinion, you have to do the math when it comes to the drink package. How much alcohol can you drink in one day to make it worth it? Because the drink packages can sometimes cost more than the entire cruise. One of the things I like about MSC is that it's a discount cruise line. What I mean by that is, for what you pay and what you get, you'll be paying far more on, say, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, or another cruise line. So your drink package, however, is quite costly. And you see all the different locations where you can drink. But in my opinion, you have to do the math to determine if it's worth it. Now, this ship stopped at 3 different ports. So while you're in port, you're not drinking, and while you're at your private island, the drink package doesn't necessarily transfer over. Now, as far as the bartenders are concerned, I found pretty much all of them, nice, friendly, and engaging. There was sometimes a little bit of a language barrier, but for the most part, they got your drink right and they were overly willing to make sure that you were happy. When it comes to the quality of service that I received, not only from the bartender, but from the service class, it's something I usually don't pay attention to. However, what I did notice on this ship was that they were pretty responsive, more so than normal when it comes to, your drink orders and your requests and your needs. I thought the staff really did an exceptional job. It's a noticeably exceptional job. It wasn't just me, because when I'm talking to other passengers, they had the same impression too as well. I got the impression that a lot of people who were on board didn't think very highly of MSC, and when I talked to people, they were always so pleasantly surprised. Wow, I never expected it would be this nice on board. So this ship so far is getting a lot of good grades. Now, when you compare their drink package to other cruise lines, you're going to find that it's more affordable. One of the things that surprised me was that there was not that many kids on board. Now, in my best estimate, I would guess that there was maybe 1 in 4 passengers was a child, which is not that much, but it's still a lot of kids, but it's not nearly as much as some other cruise lines like Carnival that really caters towards family and has a lot more kids per adult. Let's switch gears and talk about the ship as well as the boarding process. We kind of rushed on board, so let's kind of back up and talk a little bit about that. The main port that it sails out of is going to be Miami. The ship has a maximum passenger capacity of 5,877 with around 1,600 crew members. Now, as far as boarding in Miami, you're not going to find an area that's more convenient to boarding a cruise ship than Miami. It's the cruise capital of the world. And as you can see, they do allow sodas on board. So if you want to bring a 12 pack or what have you, then you can avoid paying all that money for the drink package and bring your sodas on board. When it comes to boarding, I found the process to be easy and seamless. There was no issues whatsoever. We got there early, well before our boarding time, and we were able to get on early, no problems. If you are a member of the yacht club like these people here, you get your own individual butler to take you on board. The ship has 2,270 cabins. Most of those are going to be either balcony cabins at 1,466, and then another 519 inside cabins. Now, if you do have small kids, they will take care of them for free. There is a kids zone. I have small kids and some teenagers. So when we go on ships, they usually don't want to have anything to do with the kids zone or the teenage zone. My teenagers love the teenage zone. They were there all the time. They participated in all the activities. They found friends, and they all participated in those activities too as well. When it comes to kids, they were maybe not so as enthused, but this right here is just an idea of what the kids zone as well as the teenage zone looks like. And surprisingly, again, the teenage zone seemed to have the teenagers engaged together doing stuff. So it was a good surprise, a pleasant surprise for me doing this cruise ship. Now, earlier we talked about Robotron on the outside that was a little bit more pricey, but they also have a regular arcade, and I found the stuff here to be a bit expensive. Of course, you could imagine. A game's going to cost you like maybe $1.50, $2.50. It doesn't take long before your Seascape card is going to charge a lot to your room. So make sure that you limit your kids to a specified amount. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Now, whether you have kids or don't have kids, you're going to get familiar with the arcade. And the reason why I say that is, in order to get from one end of the ship to the other, the easiest, most convenient way is to walk through this arcade, which is not at all easy or convenient. Now, this arcade is cool and air conditioned, but if you look outside, you'll see that that's a portion of a pool area. So oftentimes you'll walk out from the pool when you're wet, dripping wet, and you have to walk through the arcade in order to get to another section of the ship, which is, in my opinion, absolutely a horrific design. Let's switch gears and talk about getting around the ship. Again, the average person gains a lot of weight when they're on a cruise. So that means that the way to get some of those pounds off is to use the stairs. The stairs, sometimes it's an opportunity for an artful design, but for pretty much every single stair, there's going to be a big full-scale mirror when you come on the landing in between stairs. So people tend to use the stairs quite. Folks on board had a love-hate relationship for the elevators because they are smart elevators. You saw what that person did. They pressed a button, it told them how long the elevator was going to be, and then they simply said that's too long and they walked away. That's a great feature in my opinion because it lets you know how long it's going to be. Other cruise ships, some of the other cruise ships, they don't tell you how long the elevator is going to be, so you have no idea how long you're going to be there. Also, when you press the button to call the elevator, it will tell you specifically what elevator to wait for. This can be good and bad. If you are wheelchair bound, I wish I could say that, the passengers allowed people with wheelchair to have first priority because they can't take the stairs, but that was not always the case. During busy time, especially during dinner or when there was a lot of people trying to get from point A to point B on the cruise ship, I felt that the wheelchair folks were really up a creek. As you can see right here, you pressed the floor, it told you what elevator, you went in front of that elevator, and then you waited for the door to open, and then you went inside. Now, a lot of people are familiar with the old elevator system, so they did not like the new system. And once you got inside an elevator, you were stuck in going to whatever floor it said because you couldn't change floors once inside the elevator. So you had to pretty much wait for the elevator that was assigned to you. Unless, of course, you just like going on an elevator ride to random floors. Let's talk about the phone and internet package. They have come an extremely long way. Before, when you got even the best package on board a cruise ship, it was horrific. However, in my opinion, the phone and internet package is absolutely wonderful. I recommend you get WhatsApp, and if you want to call someone, have them also get WhatsApp because you can use the internet and actually make a phone calls using using WhatsApp. However, the person you're calling needs to also have WhatsApp. While on board, I saw someone doing an internet podcast. The internet signal is that strong, and I saw tons of people who were utilizing their phone, not just to use the app in order to find out how to get around the ship and order dinner, but just to use the app to communicate with others via text, and also to call home or to do other things that you would ordinarily see doing a phone. Here's again a guy doing a video podcast on board. Now, if you want to buy stuff, there are plenty of places that you can go shopping on board. When it comes to sales and shopping, this is something I did not particularly like about MSC. Other cruise ship, they have merchandise available for you to buy. However, MSC I thought was overly pushy, not just one, but most of their sales staff in trying to get you to buy. Not just buy merchandise, but also buy add-ons, whether it's drinks or additional food package or excursion. I found them to be borderline aggressive when it comes to that kind of stuff. It was very uncomfortable. It was unsettling. It's almost like they couldn't take no for an answer. Don't get me wrong. If you told them no, they would just leave you alone. They wouldn't be pushy or overly insistent. However, the constant asking to buy was exhausting. The pressure, or I would say the insistence or the asking to buy, started right when you walked on the ship. They were, selling additional, add-ons like, the food, constantly trying. And now the good thing is, if you want to do that kind of stuff, you sign up for it early, then you get a discount as opposed to waiting late. And also, when it comes to the specialty restaurant, I did find that it was more difficult to book specialty restaurant, if at all, towards the end of the ship as opposed to the beginning. So if that's something that you want to do, definitely do it early. But even if you don't want to do it, you're going to be annoyed nonstop, it seems, with people trying to sell you stuff. The one good thing I will say is that when you, or if you told them no, they pretty much left you alone. Now, I can't say this enough, but the ship looked absolutely spectacular, largely because it was just a great design and in the appearance, the aesthetics, but also because the staff, you saw that they were constantly cleaning to make sure that it was wiped down and that it looked good. So if you like pretty ships that are clean, that are sleek, that are modern, you are going to love this ship because they did a lot to make sure that it looks absolutely perfect. Still sticking with the staff angle, you didn't see much executive staff on board. They had a time when you could take a photograph with them in the main atrium and meet and greet, but outside of those designated times, you're pretty much hard pressed to find any member of the executive staff walking around on board. This is a big plus for MSC. They had tons, and I mean tons, of digital maps that will help you not just on your phone, but also displayed on the ship to help you get around. The ship can be a little tricky and confusing to get around. In my opinion, they put the yacht club section dead smack in the middle of the ship, and you have to, do feats of greatness in order just to get around it. But outside of that, if you're in one of the other locations, using the map system was extremely easy and convenient. And if you spoke a different language, you can also translate it to your language, which makes it great, especially if you have such a large number of people who are sailing from countries all over the world. The average American who's not on board a cruise ship is going to walk 3,000 to 4,000 steps every single day. However, when you're on a cruise ship, that number goes up dramatically. You're putting more like 10,000 steps if you're light. Now, if you do a lot of heavy walking, you're looking at more like 15 or 20,000, sometimes even more if you work out in the morning. Now, great thing is that most of the time that you are on board, you're not going to be on your feet. You're going to be sitting down somewhere enjoying being on board a cruise ship. That being said, there are lots of comfortable seating options that this ship has. They're very different, various stages of comfort levels, and they're spread all throughout the ship. So most of the time, again, you're not going to be on your feet. You're going to be sitting down, and if you are sitting down, it's going to be a comfortable, posh experience. So the next question to answer is, who are you likely to find on board? And because we were sailing during the summertime, you're mostly going to find families that are sailing on board this cruise ship. However, in talking to some of the crew members, during the off season when it's not school time, you're going to find lots of couples, older folks who are retired that are going to be on board. It takes off. There's not going to be a lot more children than say a cruise ship that has a far more family-oriented theme. Just based on what I saw while on board, there are lots of people who smoke. However, all the smoking areas that I am aware of are all outside, except for the casino, and they have a pretty good ventilation system because while on board, I didn't smell it at all. I saw a lot of people who have mobility issues, people who were in wheelchair or some type of scooter type device, and that was no problem. Getting around and navigating the ship was very easy for these folks. The only time it was a problem was when it was a busy time, a lot of people were moving throughout the ship and trying to find an elevator that would accommodate a wheelchair personnel. I felt the people at the service desk were very friendly and accommodating. There was only one problem we had on board, which is kind of large. We had a leak in our cabin, so we came back and the entire floor was wet. So they switched cabins and they helped us move, and it wasn't a problem at all. The only thing about the service desk I do not like was that they had a service where they would go to the back of the line and treat those and cater to those folks. And I was, when you're in front of the line, I saw a lot of people get upset. Was, why are you going to the back of the line and helping those folks while the folks in the front of the line have been there for 20-30 minutes. So other than that, no problems at the service area. There is an excursion desk where people can rent excursions, but for the most part, if you want a discount, you can just do it when you get to port. However, you do have to deal with a lot of haggling, and it's not quite the most pleasant experience on shore as, say, when you're doing it on board. If you were extremely happy with MSC Seascape and wanted to book your next cruise, there's somebody there on board to help you with that too. And just like every other cruise ship out there, if you wanted to get a photo package that would capture, you at your very best, then you are in luck, because they will sell it to you. And the photos, I gotta say, are gonna be pretty good. Now, normally I never highlight a bathroom. However, this bathroom was so spectacular that I had to show it. You were at a urinal and you are looking out at the Atlantic Ocean. It doesn't get any better than this view right here. Now, overall, I'll say this when it comes to MSC. I loved this particular cruise ship. The food was spectacular. It surprised me every single step of the way. Also, the cabin was great. I love the design of the cruise ship. The atrium was fantastic. And also the entertainment wasn't as bad as I had anticipated. One of the things that really didn't go very well was the design of the ship. In order to get from one end to the next, sometimes you had to make a lot of awkward moves. It was very confusing at times, even after being at sea for some time. So outside of the design and a few other quirks that we talked about, it's a pretty good cruise ship. I would go on it absolutely again. I think it's one of their better cruise ships. I've gone on MSC before several other times and hated my experience. However, this one was really exceptional.